We're heading to Buxton in the Peak District for the Buxton Brewery's Axe Edge. This is a new beer now available in Morrisons, but what's it going to be like? Check out the review to find out. Welcome back to Rocker's Beer Review. Today we're going to be reviewing this beer. This is a Buxton Brewery and it's an Axe Edge IPA. And as you can see, it's got a lovely Peak District type of landscape there, I suppose you could say. A lot of hills, mountains, greenery, countryside. And this is a new beer that's just appeared in the supermarket Morrisons. So I picked this up this week and I thought, give it a try. So this is as I say, it's an IPA, 6.8%, so pretty alcoholic. It doesn't really say much else about it. It just says it's our flagship Indian Pale Ale, brewed relentlessly hoppy since 2011. So probably this has been out before. If you've tried it before, let me know. Obviously, this is brand new from my understanding to Morrison. Has not seen it before. Doesn't say anything about the hops. Doesn't say anything about the style. Just IPA. So I suppose what the best thing to do is to get it out of the can and into a glass and give it a taste and see what it's like. See whether this can compare with the other supermarket beers. Well, I mean, pouring it, it's quite orangey. On the screen it looks lighter, but actually in the flesh it's quite dark. So this makes me think that it's going to be more your West Coast variety than a sort of an East Coast or New England IPA. You've got a one finger fluffy white head, and I'd say it's very orange. It's got a slight haze to it, but I would say that it's not as hazy as most IPAs are. Looks pretty good. Let's get some aromas. Yeah, I know that this is going to be more like a West Coast IPA. You've got those orangey, tangerine, citrusy notes. A little bit of grapefruit. Yeah, that's it. It's citrus, but orange is the big flavour. If you saw the review that I did a couple of days ago, may even be a day before, I'm not sure, for the Mountain IPA, which was a combination of West and East, aromas on this are quite similar. So I don't know if you call this an East-West or a Mountain either. Maybe it's a Mountain, a Buxton, a Peak District Mountain. I don't know. Anyway, let's try it, see what it tastes like. Cheers. Definitely typical West Coast. Quite carbonation's quite high on it actually, and it's very light bodied. There's not that sort of nice soft pillowy sort of mouthfeel to it. It has that element of bitterness on the back end, again West Coast style. It tastes quite pleasant. I'm trying to sort of struggle to get some of these flavours out of here, what we're actually getting. You get quite a lot of bitterness actually on the front and the back. So it is, if you like that sort of that flavour, but you're not even a lot of the sort of orangey sort of aromas, they don't really transfer into flavours. It's a very sort of bitter and dry combination beer really, without the fruit flavours. It's more your, yeah, the bitterness is a little bit overpowering. It's certainly not the sort of beer that I like to drink. I like my beers dry, but no bitterness at all. But the bitterness isn't overpowering. It just sort of sits on the throat a little bit. And it makes you want to drink it again. You know, it gives you that thirst. It does taste a little bit, you know, you can taste the alcohol in that. You know it's a strong beer. There's not much to add really. I mean, it's your typical West Coast type of IPA. So it has that bitterness. There's a little bit of zestiness in there, a bit of, you know, those sort of real lime and a bit of grapefruit. But it doesn't really do it for me as much. I've had, you know, we've had lots of beers on this channel where we've got a bit of grapefruit in there, and you can taste that that grapefruit, and that sort of comes through into a little bit of bitterness. But the bitterness on this is quite upfront, and it doesn't really let any of those sort of citrusy aromas sort of transfer into sort of nice fruity flavours. Bit disappointed with this, but again, if you like West Coast, you might like it. But for me, not the best, and I probably won't be wanting to try again. So let's get some scores, shall we? Okay, the scores are in for this Buxton Brewery Axe Edge, an Indian Pale Ale, certainly more on the West Coast side than the East Coast. And it's available in Morrisons in the new range, and it's £3. Aroma. Well, I was a bit disappointed. There is that sort of slight, that orangey sort of aroma. And actually, the aroma when I first poured it was actually nicer than when I sort of smell it now. You can almost, the bitterness is almost coming through. Really sort of bitter orange, I suppose. So 11 out of 20 for aroma. Appearance, well, it's orangey, but there's not much of a haze. I mean, again, it's typical of a West Coast type of IPA sort of style. Head's a bit disappointed, almost sort of disappearing there. It is lace in the glass. I'm giving it a 7 out of 10 for appearance, though. Flavour-wise, again, individual, preferences, but for me, it's just too bitter. It's bitter on the front, bitter on the back. There's no difference. I do like the beers when you come in, you get that fruity sort of flavour, and then you get that little bitterness afterwards that just gives that little bit more robustness. But this is all over it right away, and you don't get much of that sort of fruit. You get that sort of orange and real sort of sharpness of a grapefruit, but it's not that fruity. It's not refreshing. It's just not that pleasant. It's very bitter. So I'm giving it a 28 out of 40 for flavour. Value for money, £3 can. I think it's pretty good value. If this is your style, then you probably, it's a good value. 8 out of 10 I'm giving it. And then in terms of my overall enjoyment or experience of the beer, again, not really for me. I'm giving it a 10 out of 20. I think if you like West Coast, or you like your craft beers with a bit more, with that sort of bitter taste, then I think you'd like it, because, there's nothing wrong. But to me, it's a little bit harsh. I have had West Coast IPAs that are just a little bit smoother and a little bit more balanced, but this is very sort of bitter all the way through it. So 10 out of 20. So we top those scores up, and we haven't had a score this low for a while. It's a 64 out of 100. It's a Bon Jovi beer. It's a mid-level Bon Jovi beer. So is it Bed of Roses? That's what it's going to be. I wouldn't say it was a sickly ballad, because it's a bit too harsh. It's a bit more of a sort of a mid-pace rocker, really. So that's the Buxton Axe Edge. I probably won't try it again. I've just realised I've got 2 of these, actually, because I bought 2 of these this time, so I could enjoy one and do one for review, but I'm not going to be rushing to drink that other one now. But what do you think? Is that sort of West Coast IPA better for you? I know I've had some people commenting on the channel before saying, what's wrong with bitterness? So what do you think of the West Coast style? Let me know in the comments. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Really appreciate it if you could subscribe. We've hit 110 subscribers now, so we're really sort of moving ahead. I'm really appreciative of everyone that has taken the time to watch these videos. And until the next one, don't forget, keep on rocking.